Hi, this is Malefic Maid and I'm Ed, and today we're going to be painting up some Primaris Space Wolves in a very similar colour scheme to this test model that I've done. So the idea here is that we're going to be doing a 40k colour scheme, but just sort of making it a bit more battle worn. And this is going to be done using a couple acrylic base layer paints, but mainly oil paints. So I've got models like this here, and I've just done a bit of pre-shading using Villainy Inks Carrying Crimson. It's not the ideal paint to do pre-shading on for this because that shoulder pad is going to be yellow, but I think it will work out quite nicely. And then here you can see that I've made a start, and so this is just putting down Abteilung 502 copper oxide. And the way that we put this down is a little bit of the paint onto a palette, straight onto the brush, wipe off the excess, paint some of it on, then get yourself a clean dry brush. I use the Pro Art Soft Blender small brush because it's got very soft bristles, and we use this to blend out the paint onto the surface. I've undercoated ashen grey and then I've zenithalled white, but really you could just go white. There's no need to do what I've done. I just wanted to test out ashen grey from Signature Colour Forge series to see what it was like. I think it's good, it's okay, but it's a bit more subtle than I thought it was going to be. So I'm just showing you on this small area here how easy it is to just soft blend out the paint here. And the one thing I haven't done on this is I've not done the acrylic basing that I might normally do, so I might do that in a second. But as you can see, that's how easy it is just to get your base colours down. So I decided just to see what it would look like just doing the dark brown wash neat onto the cabling, and I don't even mind it. So I think I'm going to just do that. So as I say, I've got like a small squad of 5 that I'm working on. This one's a little bit further along. I did do black on here, but actually I kind of like the brown. So I think we're going to see what this model looks like with the brown on it instead. I'm doing all these models concurrently, and you'll kind of probably see me working on a couple different ones, just because I think it's interesting to try out these different techniques, and then we can kind of figure out at the end like which one we prefer. So this is AK Interactive Enamel Dark Brown Wash. Unlike Streaking Grime, this is a wash, so as you can see it's a lot thinner and it flows off of the brush much easier. I'm not too worried as well if I do happen to get it in the wrong places, because it actually is part of my weathering technique for the main armour anyway. And this is actually another good point to check something else I was interested in seeing was, is it worth panel lining before doing the armour on this? So I'm going to test this part out here, because effectively on this model, this other one here, I did the panel lining afterwards and then blended it out to get the weathering, or the start of the weathering. I just wonder which way is easier. So we're just going to test it out here. And I've switched to using Winsor & Newton Miniature Series 700. This isn't required at all, but I think a 00 non-synthetic brush is useful at this point. And we'll go back over to our Abteilung 502 copper oxide. So that's the main colour we're using. That's a pretty close match to the Fenrisian grey. What you can do is you can wait a little bit for the wash for it to partially evaporate so it's a bit drier, as this wash is very liquidy, so I'm fully expecting some blending here. As I'm filming this, I'm just doing it kind of for speed because, yeah, it's a lot to show you guys and limited time to do it as I work full time. So as you can see, I'm not being super neat there. I'm just trying to get some of the paint down because we're going to be blending that out. Okay, so we go back over to our soft blend brush. When you're using your blending brushes, so I've been cleaning my other brushes, don't clean your blending brush until you're done painting. Just wipe off the excess onto the kitchen towel that you should have next to you, because the second that you put cleaning fluid on this, it becomes basically worthless until it's dry, and it won't work the way that you want it to. It will just end up taking off paint and leaving sort of streaks in your oil. I think that's really interesting how it blends in. I think both ways of doing it have real merit, of doing the panel lining first or doing it after. It almost smooths the paint out as well. Like, not so the Abteilung paints, not all of them are created equally. Some of them do have to have like not as fine pigment in, just because of the nature of the material used in the color. But this copper oxide seems to have a very, very fine pigment in, so it goes on quite smooth anyway. But with the combination of the brown there, the brown wash, that went on really, really smooth anyway. Yeah, you know what? I actually think that is a bit easier. And note how I'm just coming in now with the copper oxide blue. It's got really good coverage. So, as I've said, my camera's not fantastic. The light does wash it out a little bit, but I think that's just as easy to do that. And you effectively get a very similar result. It's almost, imperceptible really. But I think that's really easy to work with. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're just going to go around the model with the dark wash, with the panel line, and then we're going to come in with the copper oxide. I was curious as well about what the brown wash would look like, just covering the leather. So I'm going to do that on this one. Okay, so same again. I won't show you all of it, but I'll just do some of it. Dab your copper oxide blue on. And then same brush that we've not cleaned, that we've been using this entire time for the blending. Occasionally, I'll just wipe the brush on the kitchen towel, just because you'll get a build up of the brown wash on your brush. You'll also get a build up of the paint. So there we've got that first pass. And then what we do is we just look for any areas where we want it to really have that blue. Come in with a second pass, then we'll do the belt as well. Aiming for the highlight areas. Yeah, and as you can see, I think that's coming together already really well. So that basically is your base tone and your pre-shading for the armor. So I'm just going to go around now and carry on doing that on the rest of the model. It's a bit difficult to see it on camera, but we have Abteilung 502 light grey. It has an ever so slight bluish tint. So let's see if this shows up. Yeah, so my camera's not quite good enough to be able to see that, but it does make a really good highlight colour. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to add that highlight in just to a few places and work it around using the same blending brush that I've been using this entire time. Right, next step is I'm going to come in with the metals. So this time on this model, on the other one, I did the Iron Warriors colour from Citadel Acrylic. This time I'm just coming in with AK Interactive True Metal Iron. It's a wax-based oil paint. I kind of alternate. It depends on how quick I'm painting, really. Sometimes I'll base out in acrylics, and sometimes I'll just use the oil paints. So this one, I don't use it straight out of the pot, or well, tube. I thin it down pretty heavily with ZEST It, the non-toxic oil paint. I couldn't really give you like a proper ratio, but you kind of want it like this consistency. Because it has metal pigment in, it obviously is like a lot thicker and it's wax based, so it does dry a lot faster than the Abteilung, like the regular oil paints, which definitely isn't a bad thing. It means that you can work with it in a bunch of different ways, like slightly faster, because as it dries, it means you can be a bit more aggressive with your washes without fear of reactivating the paint too much. But you still have the benefits that it can reactivate if you need it to blend it in. It's so weird painting Primaris Marines. There's so much less to do than with Chaos models. They definitely are like beginner friendly. I'm not really using the right brush for it, but let's try and go in on these pipes. The eyes we won't be able to do until the model's fully dry, because we're going to use Vallejo fluorescent green on those. Okay, so I painted the Carrion Crimson on yesterday. I haven't come in with a blow dryer, so this is a live test to see whether or not it's ready. We're going to start from the top and make our way down. And of course there's a strand of something. Oh, went way too heavy there. All right, cool. That actually worked. I do think it probably could have done with a little bit more time to dry, to be perfectly honest with you. But ultimately, I think that worked. So let's do the other shoulder pad, because why not? I'm kind of doing this a little bit early. I did say I'd wait till the end, but I just think it's kind of interesting to see what it looks like at this point. And this is Imperial Fist Contrast Yellow. Yeah, nice. So I definitely would say a day minimum to let that Carrion Crimson dry. I think I probably could have let it dry for another day. So that's not the yellow on the shoulder pads fully done. Once that fully cures, we are going to come in with a very light oil paint pass, and then we'll also do that brown wash in the recess, just so that we get a bit of definition between the trim and the shoulder pad. But overall, let's just see if we can zoom in there. Yeah, looks all right. So I think that's going to be it, guys. Part one, we've got base layers down on the armor, we've got a bit of weathering, we've got the shoulder pads, we've got the metals ready to work on, and we've got the leather ready to work on. I'm pretty happy with how we're going with this. I hope you've enjoyed it, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you in part two, where we're going to take this model and just elevate it that bit further and get it ready for the tabletop. Thanks all, have an ace one.